Welcome to E4 Electric live from Bangkok. That's where I live. And let's talk about something. Elon Musk has endorsed Donald Trump on Twitter. And then also on top of that, it looks like he will be committing to like $200 million to Donald Trump's campaign or PAC or whatever. He wants him to win. Not that I think he needs help right now. I think he's doing fine in that regard. But this is an electric car channel. So let's talk about electric cars and specifically Tesla, because Tesla is still very much the leader of the pack. And this is a major decision. Now, we already heard Elon, criticizing Democrats and really embracing Republicans, which I didn't never thought was a good idea for any CEO of any type of, especially publicly traded company to embrace. But now he's just flat out said, I like that guy, which obviously whichever guy you choose, you're going to piss off the other part of the country. Now, that's not, I would say, a great decision. However, let's see what are the possible reasons why he would be doing this. By the way, if you're watching me live, let me know in the live chat where you're watching me from, what kind of electric car you are driving or dreaming about. But this is not really a political discussion, right? I just want to keep it mainly to electric cars, at least in the beginning. So just so you know, nobody cares about your opinion about Trump or Biden or whatever. It's just like nobody cares about my opinion. We all have one vote, and that's just how it goes, right? But let's talk about electric cars. Let's talk about Tesla. Now, I can argue that one, for Tesla, he's obviously trying to get on Trump's good side. They haven't always seen eye to eye. Elon was on his advisory committee, whatever, back in the day when it was Trump's first year of his presidency, and then Musk quit because Trump quit the Paris Accord, and so they weren't exactly friends after that. Now he wants to be friends again because one, I think obviously keeping the incentives for electric cars would be a good thing, though it's not that easy to undo. And I don't think Tesla really needs those incentives as much as maybe even others, especially the way it's written right now. Number two is outside of Tesla. The other two. So number two is, of course, he runs SpaceX. He owns SpaceX, and the SpaceX needs government contracts. And if Trump doesn't like you, you ain't getting no contracts, right? And so that's a big deal. And number three, I don't know if you've heard, but Elon bought Twitter, or X, stupid, X, and he is not doing very well. There's just not enough growth of users. I think he said there would be a billion of them by now. Much like a lot of his promises, that did not happen. So, getting Trump back, and he unbanned Trump on Twitter because, Trump was banned, but Trump just continued not using his account because I think he co-owns or whatever Truth social network or social media platform. And so obviously, I think Elon wants to get him back because that would be a boost in users, probably humongous boost in users. So that's why I think he is doing that. And hello to everybody who's saying hi. It looks like we got Germany, we got Florida, Taiwan. I was in Taiwan a couple of months ago. Very lovely. All right. So now here's what I think where he's going wrong. I think that essentially, and there's been a study by New York Times recently that people are deciding not to get Tesla because they don't like the car, is because they don't like the guy. And so obviously, if you don't like Trump and you want to vote either against him or you really love Joe Biden or whoever might be actually end up the candidate at the end of the day. So then you probably this would deter that probably you're going to be like, well, I don't really want to buy Tesla because I don't like the guy running it, because the guy running it supporting the guy that I really don't like, which is, in some cases Trump, right? Well, I think that is very valid because there will be a lot of people. Now, I've seen it in the comments even today in my on my channel. People are saying, "Well, why do you care? Why do you care who runs the company? If it's a good product, you should buy it." And you know what? Most of the time, I would agree. When I bought this microphone or this camera or this computer, I did not look into who the guy running it or owns it, votes for, or whatever his their stance on politics. However, usually that's because they don't advertise, and I don't know, don't ask, don't tell. But here, Elon is kind of putting it in your face, like in a big way, and some people might feel that, well, and they could be right? If you buying a Tesla, you're paying money to in part to Elon Musk, and then he takes some of that money and gives to Donald Trump. So some of your dollars that you pay for your car essentially ends up in Trump's campaign pocket, which essentially goes against your political interest. And I think that's a valid argument. Let me know in the comments what you guys what you guys think. Let's see. Let me switch to the chat here. And the average Joe says he's a billionaire. Of course, he wants to pay lower taxes. I don't think it's the taxes thing, man. I think it's one of those things where he really needs users on Twitter, money for SpaceX. And I honestly think, and a lot of people feel this way, he's kind of abandoning Tesla, if you will, if you really think about it. So and here's another thing, right? I usually look at things from the perspective of a customer. And in this case, listen, there's plenty of electric cars out there. I think a lot of them are better than Tesla, and you should go and buy that if you don't want to give your money to Elon Musk. However, the problem is if Tesla is struggling, which they are right now, right? Tesla is struggling to sell cars. This is their second quarter, I believe, that they are not growing and actually kind of selling less cars than the year over year quarter before. Um, and now look at how much hate electric cars are getting. Now, a lot of it is coming from the conservative part of the country, and specifically, for example, recently Elon Trump, Donald Trump said at one of his rallies that he does no longer want to keep the tax incentives, and he does have the kind of power to do that. All right, guys. By the way, we don't. Well, you guys, I kind of maybe you joining it late. I don't need to go. I don't need the messages go Trump or go Biden or whatever. There's not a political conversation. You're not contributing to this conversation at all. So please limit your comments. By the way, nobody cares who you're voting for. I'm not sharing. By the way, I don't even know if I'm going to vote, but nobody cares. Okay. So please, if you're going to type something in here, preferably with a super chat, those are always welcome. At least please contribute to the conversation. I get it. Some of you vote for Trump, some of you want to vote for Biden, and I get it. It is what it is. But as far as Tesla is concerned, I don't understand why investors. And by the way, if those of you who own stock, and I know a friend of mine who I just talked to recently, she was a huge and still is a huge Tesla fan, but she's selling all of her stock that she had in Tesla because, and a lot of people, I don't understand why everybody's not really doing that, because you can argue that Elon has been acting against the interest of the company he's supposed to run and make money for, and make money for you, the shareholders. And like I said, I don't really talk about shareholders because I don't care about you guys. Sorry, I only care about Tesla owners and electric car owners and overall the electric vehicle sort of revolution everywhere. So you can go back only a few months ago when he fired pretty much his entire team of people who built the best part of Tesla, which is the supercharger network. He has just recently no longer acting in the best interest of Tesla. And I can argue that supporting either one of the candidates is not a very smart thing to do if you want what's best for the company, especially when the company is struggling to sell cars now, right? We're at that point where everybody who wanted to try Tesla, everybody who loves Tesla, everybody who loves Elon Musk has purchased their Teslas. Now he has to sell the cars to a common folk who, just you have to sell the car to them without sort of counting on them being a fan in the first place. Um, Silver GT says, I have 300 shares. I won't sell. Well, okay. I would be interested to know why not. Do you not think that Elon is now acting counter to what he should be doing as his job as a CEO, and turning people off? And like in the case of the supercharger team firing, just against the interest of the company. Of course, the stock price will tell, and right now it's been up. But I'm just kind of wondering if you why you're holding on to your stock, and do you not think that he's acting against your interests? Rob says Elon is alienating those who would buy a Tesla, who he is aligning with hate electric cars. Period. Who he is aligning with hate electric cars. Period. Yeah. So generally speaking, people do believe that Donald Trump does not really like electric cars. It appears that way, and he already mentioned that he wants to cancel the incentives. That doesn't mean he wants to cancel the electric cars per se, but it does sound like he is just not really big on electric cars anymore. Even though when he was president, remember when GM abandoned two of their U.S. factories, and he, let's just say, facilitated Lordstown Motors, which now went belly up, unfortunately, to take one of the factories over and essentially try to build an electric truck. He was very much for electric cars back then. So, who knows what's next? But, generally speaking, I think it's reasonable to say that, Donald Trump is not exactly a big supporter of electric cars. All right, let's go to the next one. This one is from John. Milwaukee, Tesla Model 3. Elon is backing the most likely winner, wants an administration that is favorable to his companies, also broadens the appeal of electoral conservatives. All excellent points. And I've made pretty much all of them before, but yes, let me repeat, John, I think you're right on the money. If you're arguing that it is a positive thing, right? I think there's a lot of negative things too, because it's much easier to keep the liberals buying Tesla, I think, than to get conservatives to change their mind, right? It's always harder to change people's minds than kind of keep them in your camp. So, but yes, this probably would win the conservatives. And generally speaking, yeah, I agree. I would argue that Trump right now has momentum and is most likely. I mean, we are 4 months away. We don't know who the actual nominee for the Democrats is. Is it going to be Biden? And if not, is it going to be Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or a million other people who everything's kind of up in the air. So we don't know, but you're right. At this point, it does seem like he's a likely winner. The momentum is with him, but at the same time, I think the benefits of that for Tesla, right? SpaceX, absolutely. Twitter, absolutely. But specifically for Tesla, right? This is an electric car channel. See, electric. I think he's going to do, and has already done, more bad than good for Tesla in electric cars. As you can see, the sales kind of showing that. The average Joe says, what if Trump allows deployment of assistant driving, eventual self-driving? Could this help Tesla stock? So the self-driving regulations are essentially kind of state by state. It's not a federal government thing. For example, in California and many other states, DMV is in charge of that. Now, there's NHTSA that's kind of overseeing a lot of things, including whether or not they're going to go after Elon with self-driving problems. Is a government agency, and they are going after him. There's a couple of lawsuits, which I 100% support. I would like those lawsuits to move forward because it's about the scam that is the full self-driving. But we'll see. Like I said, let's see what happens in court. But I'm not really sure if that's enough. But like I said, federal government doesn't have all of the power to regulate it. I think they're more of checks and balances rather than regulators as much. Let's move on to the next one. No left turns. I wonder who he's voting for. Trump doesn't need Elon's money. Elon is trying to buy influence since Trump hates EVs and will go away with the subsidies and all federal regulations that favor EV over ICE. Very fair statement, which I'm not going to lie. No left turns. A lot of times, I think your comments on my channel, as much as I appreciate any comments, are kind of out there. But yeah, I absolutely agree. Now, Trump does need money. I mean, everybody needs money, obviously, right? And in the previous campaign, but both campaigns, Trump did not put that much of his money into the campaign, right? They had to raise money. But right now, they are raising a lot of money. So they might, well, but $200 million for even a presidential campaign, it is substantial. But you can also argue maybe for Elon, that's not much money either. So why not? Let's go to the next comment. Michael says Trump is anti-EV and pro-fossil fuel, so it makes no sense that Musk has become so supportive of Trump. It goes against the company's interest. So, like I said, there are some arguments that it is good for Tesla in some ways. Like I said, bringing in maybe conservatives, maybe having Trump change his mind or whatever. Like I said, Trump was very much pro-electric cars when he was kind of and he did a big press conference when he was opening the Lordstown factory, right? And yeah, so if Musk can convince him somehow, that wouldn't be a bad thing for Tesla or electric cars. I don't think he will, right? I just don't think he will, but who knows? With these two, they're the most unpredictable people in the world, I would say, right? So you never know. But generally speaking, yeah, it is an odd choice, unfortunately. Democrats hate Trump, says Lockbert. You don't want to take a position. Me? I don't want to take position. Oh, I have a position, absolutely. And I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I think half of Democrats are wrong, and half of their policies wrong, half of them are right. Same thing, Republicans. I agree with half, disagree with half. Sometimes more, sometimes less. I also think both candidates are not very good in general. I think both parties can do better, and I think American people deserve better. I think we should have better candidates. I probably would have thought that maybe Ron DeSantis probably a better representation of America, but I'm in the middle. And don't forget, I live in Bangkok. I live in Thailand, so I'm not really even that affected by this vote, if you think about it. So I'm actually thinking about maybe not voting at all in my case. But like I said, I'm an independent, and but don't forget, this is an electric car channel. So let me know, please. Um, I will wait for you guys to let me know. But meanwhile, yeah, I just can you give me a little bit more information about why you think that it will be going up when essentially what Elon is doing is, I feel like, driving the stock down by turning a lot of people off from buying cars. Um, you know, so I don't know. Well, here's an interesting comment. Logbar says Biden's still favored by 538. So 538, if I remember correctly, That's the website that originally back in 2016 predicted Trump win, right? Or generally speaking, they're considered to be one of the most um, unbiased and accurate political pollsters. I wasn't aware of that. I actually thought that Trump would be ahead, but like I said, we don't know. It's 4 months ahead. You know that I think U.S. is the only country that's runs their election for like an entire year. It's kind of insane. Guys, somebody tell me if you can hear me. Okay. I'm looking at my mic and it says that is good. So okay. Let me move on to the next one while you're letting me know. Michael says, on the other hand, it's possible Musk sees Trump is the likely winner and he's trying to curry favor with Trump. I mean, that's exactly what I think. I'm just saying it's not good for Tesla. And I like, we have some investors here. So you guys tell me, do you not think that he's acting against your interest and interest of your investment by alienating half of the country? I'm just curious. I would think so. And I know some people who are selling their stock. Um, Steve says from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Elon, king of baby daddy, can't help himself being a jerk. He lost interest in Tesla a few years ago. Tesla is too slow and refresh, and the car interior is fine for a cheap car. I do have to agree that he has given up on Tesla. It sounds like I don't know if it was several years ago, but it's definitely feels like that lately. But on the other hand, what is he exactly into, right? I mean, I don't see too many improvements on Twitter because I've been waiting for a lot of improvements because I would like to be on Twitter more than I would like to be on YouTube or other platforms just because I have more freedom of speech and stuff to say there. I mean, that's one of the things I really liked about him buying Twitter is because there's one platform where people won't be canceling you for saying something that just simply hurts their feelings. I mean, I hate the cancel culture, so I like that, but I don't think he's doing much for that. So I don't know. The average Joe says, so maybe get out of jail free card. Well, I don't think Elon has done anything that he will be going to jail for, even if things go not his way at all. So I don't think that's what it is. Good guess, probably though. Sebastian says EV is about sustainability, and his part of the master plan is plain marketing. Yeah, but how is this helping if he is endorsing one of the two candidates, and especially the one that's considered to be anti-EV? In, again, if we're just talking about simply Tesla, right? Mega Wilderness says this proves that Elon is as corrupt as Trump. Well, which part? Which part proves that he is corrupt? Because corruption is when somebody pays you money for you to do something that you're not supposed to do or illegal, right? But in this case, Elon is just being Elon, and I mean, he's just being open about who he supports, which, like, I don't know if that's corruption per se. I don't see how it's corruption. RP says bad, but maybe EVs will survive orange this way. Well, I mean, EVs are not going to go anywhere. It's just a matter of like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. China has launched this idea many, many years ago that the way they want to take over the world is through, transportation, right? They want to make great cars. They're going to be electric cars, buses, planes and everything. And that's how you can really dominate the world in terms of, financially and economically. And that's what they've been doing, right? I mean, electric cars from China are coming. And trust me, like I am here in Bangkok, and all I have to do is look outside of my window and see how many more Chinese cars we have now since they came here to Thailand versus other cars, including Tesla. Tesla has been drowned by BYD and other MG and other electric cars. Like when I order a Grab, which is Uber here, and I get an electric car, which was one of the cases was today, I almost never get a Tesla. I get a Chinese one today. I got a Neta. So that's the electric cars will survive. The question is, will this give other countries that are not friendly to us, right? For example, China, a leg up on us, and this absolutely will. I think electric cars is in the interest of all Americans because it's just one of the ways we can sort of counter China from their plan of kind of dominating the world, and I think it's a good thing. Um, The money guy says this is much bigger than just some measly car sales. It's personal. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think he really does not like the how he was treated by the left. In some cases, he's right. I think doing businesses in California, I myself, had a uh, California registered business all this time, which is this channel, right? For many years, 7 years now. And before leaving for Thailand, I moved my business to Nevada. I think Nevada is one of the better states for a business, especially a small business like mine. So in some cases, yes, but in some cases, he was just a crybaby. He was trying to make a profit during COVID. He made his California factory workers go to work despite the orders that it was unsafe. There were some reports that people did get COVID and die, so some of it is reasonable, some of it is not reasonable, but yes, it is his personal preference, and he's letting it know. Okay. Mike says Trump will win, EVs will survive, the stock market will bounce back. Not okay. So I think if Trump wins, the stock market will absolutely be okay. Stock market seems to be perfectly fine with him. Last time it was, I think, after the boost in popularity after what happened, a few days ago. It's quite, you know, quite reasonable to say this. EVs will survive. I also think that's true. As far as Trump winning, it looks like, I thought Trump was winning by a little bit in the polls, but apparently Biden is winning a little bit by the polls. Listen, 4 months to go, right? And you're forgetting, we don't know who Trump is running against. We don't know who Trump is running against. Democrats might decide to pull Biden, or he decides to step aside, and they might put some candidate that we or majority of people don't know about. Kind of like, remember when McCain announced Sarah Palin, and everybody kind of fell in love with her. Every Republican fell in love with her, right? And nobody knew about her, and they just like really ecstatic. Democrats have people like that as well. And a lot of people might get behind it. I think Pete Buttigieg would be interesting choice. Now, I personally really, really, really dislike Gavin Newsom as somebody who lived in California for a long time. But generally speaking, the guy is very slick, right? The guy did all kinds of shit to California, and people still reelected him and reelected him again. So I don't know. I mean, I think Gavin can do very well against Donald Trump. So we don't know yet. And how many twists and turns have there been, in the last several weeks and days before the actual election, which is miles and miles away. So we don't know. We just don't know. So I wouldn't say that Trump will win or Biden will win, or if it will be maybe Biden. So I think, sound is back. So the sound was interrupted at some point. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I really don't. Um, let's see. Um, Striker 3 says, "Oh, and EVs are okay for local travel, but there is such things as charging deserts. There's less and less charging deserts, and don't forget, I mean, we have plenty of fast chargers out there. They do need to be faster. They need to be working better. There should be more of them. That's why I think one of the best things that Biden has done for all of us, regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat or like me, independent, is to pass that infrastructure bill. And I think there's a bunch of Republicans voted for it as well. That's how it got passed, is because there is money for it. Now, do I trust our government of any administration to appropriate and use that money wisely? Fuck no. But at least there's some money. At least they're going somewhere. Hopefully, even half of them makes it to the right destination. Will be better off as far as electric car drivers in America. Silver GT says, so will there be an uptick of sales towards the end of the year if Trump wins? So generally speaking, there are more car sales at the end of the year because a lot of Christmas sales are happening and deals, and banks get on there with their APRs and lease deals. On top of that, a lot of people have money because Christmas and gifts and all of that stuff. So just generally speaking, the car sales are stronger in Q4, much weaker in Q1. So that should be, but I don't think at the end of the day, the car sales, especially in this December, are going to be affected by that. that much, because don't forget, if Trump wins, he won't become president until actually next year. And then I don't think electric cars are on top of his agenda. I think if he's going to get to electric cars, it might be 1 or 2 years, and then the law would have to take effect, honestly. And we don't know. So the thing is, Trump cannot just undo all of the stuff of like the electric vehicle tax incentive, like he wasn't able to do it when he was president for his first term. Uh, it has to be passed with both houses before he can sign that. And we don't know. Will one of the houses going to remain Democratic? If so, well, then there's your answer there, right? Things are complicated. Things are very complicated. Um, Mike says if you can delegate properly with Twitter and get it to be a competitor of YouTube, that will be the way. Get proper AdSense incentives for creators, and we will flock to Twitter. As a creator, I would love that. One of the reasons I left America was because I just couldn't stand the fucking cancel culture and the fact that I couldn't say shit about anything, right? I mean, I remember one time at this Berkeley, California taco place where the waitress was just absolute disgrace. I mean, she just bluntly did not want to serve anybody because it was too close to going home, and and so. But as soon as a couple of my friends complained, she basically said, "Oh, yeah, they were talking shit about she was Asian, about Asian women." And we were like, what? And now we had to defend ourselves that we're not sexist and racist. And she did no longer have to defend herself as a really shitty employee, right? So I hate that. I hate the cancel culture. I hate the fact that people cannot say anything anymore. And it sounds like Twitter is a place where you can kind of do that now. You can still lose your job, but at least you can say it without the. Here's a good example, by the way. I made a video on one of my personal channels about, I'm a passport bro. I came here for a reason. And I made a quick video saying, hey, guys, what Andrew Tate told you a while back is not true about people, single men who come to Southeast Asia. None of it is true. And that video, and that's all I said. I said, there's challenges, my video was taken down by TikTok for hate speech. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe because I said Andrew Tate, their AI, that's stupid, So I submitted it for review with a human. And a TikTok human basically said, no, we think it's hate speech. I'm like, I didn't even agree with a guy you don't like. So I love the fact that Twitter is it's got a freedom of speech going on there. Not 100%, but still better than YouTube. And I would love it to be able to compete with YouTube. YouTube has started unfortunately becoming more and more anti-creator. I mean, there were just recently a bunch of changes made that made it even more difficult for us to make money. So yeah, I'm all pro Twitter going, video and competing with YouTube. I thought when Mr. Beast challenged Elon to that, we would have gotten it. That would have been great. But all right, guys, when I lost sound, nobody said that I lost sound. Now you say you can hear me. That's great. But next time, just let me know so I'm not like yapping into the mic that's not even working. I don't know why it didn't work. So the average Joe says Musk's could benefit from less tension with China. Trump will sell out American interest for personal gain, negotiated by Musk. Listen, so that we don't know, right? I mean, honestly, Trump has done one thing one time one way and the opposite, including with the opposite way the next time. So we don't know. We don't know what his policies is going to be. Is Trump going to continue running everything himself like he did last time, or is he actually going to learn his lessons and work closer with the Republican leadership? Because then, of course, there will be more of their ideas implemented and less of his ideas implemented. So it's going to be very different administration, right? So we just don't know. Next one. The money guy says our country is a mess because people are afraid to voice their opinions because of how it may affect their livelihoods, their jobs, their stock, and absolutely. I mean, listen, I hate to say this, but I feel like a second-class citizen because I still kind of do when I'm dealing with America, right? Because I can't say anything about anybody who does not look like me, right? So and I hate that. I think there's plenty of voices that need to be heard. And I don't think that people's feelings could be considered when you cancel someone's livelihood, right? It's just people's feelings have become more important than facts. And I really hate that. And by the way, we have none of that here in Thailand. At the same time, a lot of people don't want to talk politics here. They're happy with their lives, and it just doesn't matter to them as much. And I love that. Sebastian says, I'm assuming you're referring to Pete Buttigieg, who I did feature in a couple of my videos in the last month because he went to the Senate floor and put them all in place with their really, really dumb accusations and absolute lack of knowledge about electric cars. I'm assuming who you're talking about, Sebastian. The guy responsible for transportation is amazing. He knows about EVs. So honestly, I think Democrats could maybe use him as maybe a VP pick, right? So let's say Gavin Newsom. If Democrats were smart, okay, Gavin Newsom and Pete Buttigieg as a VP candidate, I think that ticket actually has a much better chance to beat Trump, who's got a lot of momentum right now and will continue to get more momentum as the session goes on. So, so that would be good. I like Pete. I like what he says about electric cars. I actually met him in person one time at the rally in Sacramento when I was covering it as for my channel. I even have a video of that. All right. Let's keep going. RP says China selling cars on the cost to crush the competition and on the market, and then they can charge whatever they want. Listen, they're doing their thing, right? I mean, but they are producing a good product. They are producing a good product. I can vouch for that because I see them on the streets. I know people who own them, and once they start building factories in America and Europe, and avoid tariffs that way, or BYD just finished factory right here in Thailand, which means cars made there won't be subject for tariffs. I think in America or Europe. So that's coming. Sebastian says, I work in charging in 18 countries. Charging deserts are pretty rare. I agree. And they're going to be more and more rare. Frank says, I'd guess Musk spoke to Trump before endorsing him. That's an interesting, and I haven't thought about it. I don't think he did. I think that's just how I don't think Musk had time. As soon as like a thought appears in his head, I feel like first person he tells it to is Twitter. you know, and yeah, but who knows, right? Randy says we're already not buying in on the Musk Tesla wagon. Not he now he endorses. Okay. Yeah, no, yeah, he endorses. Yeah, like I said, he endorses a man who half of the country loves and half of the country hates. Not a good strategy for a public company or any company CEO, I think. The money gas says, and instead are letting incompetent people run rampant in our government due to the popular opinion of the time. Now the pendulum is swinging back. That's why he's endorsing despite the consequences. I could be. All right. RP says more public level 240 amp charges. Well, I don't know, man. If you're gonna have, listen, I really think level 2 chargers are completely fucking useless out there. Not at your home, yes, maybe at your work site, right? And your work, but out there at like grocery stores, who gives a shit if you're gonna get 7 extra miles of range while you're buying bananas? I mean, if you're going to put money into the chargers, I think it needs to be a level 3. I think it needs to be DC fast charging. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste of money. I think the money says I can agree with you on that. Cancel culture is a cancer culture. Yeah, I absolutely hate it. I absolutely hate the fact that nobody can just oh, you hurt my feelings or you offended me. I mean, the other day I was discussing something with a friend of mine, and well, I don't want to discuss my politics, but um, yeah. So my friend called somebody racist because that person did not like for example, did not want to be friends with someone of an religion of Islam. And he said, well, he's racist. I said, well, you can't be racist. See, the race, he's discriminating. They said, well, you can't be discriminating against religion because religion is a choice, right? Being black or white or gay or straight or woman or man, no choice, right? That's how you're born. But religion, you choose. So you can't just say you're racist or discriminating against someone with a religion because it's something they had control over and they picked on their own. But immediately I was called a racist, right? And I'm like, we're not even talking about the race. But yeah, I don't like that. Absolutely hate it, actually. I would like to cancel the cancel culture. Is that bad of me? Um, Bush Nelson says Elon Musk and Donald Trump are known to have regular conversations together, and Trump has warmed up to Elon in EVs. Elon Musk has government contracts through Starlink and his space program. Yeah, that we've been talking about it throughout my live stream, and so yeah, that seems to be the case. I just think the damage to Tesla sales will be much bigger. Um, let's see. John Cap says, well, this is for Silver GT. Tesla will be a division of GM or Ford by 2030. You don't think it's going to be the other way around? Actually, I don't know if that's a reasonable statement. Mike says, do you know how Elon loves to play on numbers like 69 for 20? Yes, I do. He is this like a drunk child sometimes. Do you think he did that with his donation of 45 million per month because Trump is the 45th president? Well, if Trump was to win and he's donating to him to win, to be a 47th president, right? Um, but that's an interesting thing. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Maybe, but still childish. Bush Nelson says, do you think this will grow if Trump becomes president again? What this will grow? Cancel culture? Please clarify. I don't understand. I don't want to answer without clarifying the question. Vinny Morel says the question, Alex, is were you talking about Asian women? Uh, Oh, yeah, no. When I was talking to the owner, my friends were talking to the owner of that taco place, we were saying how shitty of an employee that girl was. Now, she just happened to be a girl, she just happened to be Asian. But what I'm saying is her reaction wasn't to take responsibility for her actions. Her reaction was to accuse us of being sexist, racist, right? Because now, like I said, the conversation shifted to us having to defend ourselves. Um, Mind you, this was my hockey team that was pretty much all Russian players, and we were speaking Russian. So even if we were talking about whatever it is that she thought we did, she wouldn't have understood it anyway. But that's just I mean, I'm just giving you an example, but I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, right? Anytime you criticize someone who is not like you, immediately you're racist or sexist or misogynist or whatever, right? Even if your criticism is valid, you have to actually say racist things to be called a racist. You can't just be saying it to just about another or to another person of another race. This does not make you a racist, but apparently in America it does. So it is what it is. The money guy says, I disagree with you on many of your takes, but I still come back because we all have something of value to share. It's stupid to block you just because of the things I don't agree with. But yeah, here's the thing, man. I don't even want you to agree with me because, like in this case, like I don't know. I really don't know if it's good or bad. It sounds like it's a bad decision for shareholders. It sounds like it's a bad decision for Tesla, but who knows? I mean, if he can convince Trump to actually not hate EVs because his best pal now is Elon Musk, well, then it's a good thing. So this is just more of a philosophical conversation, right? And secondly, I really want you to talk to me, and generally, if you listen to me, I want you to just consider another point of view because this is what's missing from America, I think, right? People stop considering another point of view. So, for example, I have a person. I'm not going to disclose too much information, but I have a friend who decided to vote for Trump, and he decided to vote for Trump for this one specific reason. And even though I agree with him on that reason, I disagree with his decision to vote for Trump based just on that one thing, right? But I respect his opinion because for him, right, everybody's got a one vote. For him, he's concerned for something, is this one thing that is so important that he's just going to vote for whoever is closer um, to supporting him in that one thing, right? So I think that's what's missing here. And if you listen to me and you genuinely considered my opinion on something and decided to still stick with yours, we're both better off, right? You have validated your opinion, which is great. I try to do it all the time. I try to challenge my opinions because your opinions should change depending on what's happening with the subject, and the world moves pretty quickly. And I've changed my mind on many things, and I think it's a good thing. But at the same time, you also made a connection and respected someone's point of view, even though you don't agree with it. That is completely absent now from America, and I think that might just be the beginning of the end if Americans will not start respecting each other's opinions. So I appreciate you listening to my point of view, even though you may not agree with it every time. Jim in Auburn. The left already turned on Musk. The left already turned on Musk already because he bought Twitter and made it free speech and not censored. Um, got it. Sorry, man. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning, so my brain is not fully functioning right now. The left has already turned on Musk already. You said already twice. That confused me because he bought Twitter and made it free speech. Uh, I don't know if they turned on him, um, but they didn't like him. But it's not to the point where they wouldn't buy Teslas, right? But supporting Trump, I heard a lot of people saying, okay, well, now that's official. I don't want to buy a Tesla. And that's bad for Tesla. And that's bad for all of us in the electric car sort of universe, right? I think. The Money Guy says Thailand sounds like a beautiful place. I hope we can get to that level here in America as well. Thailand is amazing in so many different ways. And as a matter of fact, I'm thinking about my next live stream to be about, me talking about what I have learned after 1 year of moving to Thailand. And I got to tell you, I look at America now almost as a third world country with like horrible healthcare, high crime, horrible quality of food, disrespectful culture that makes people disrespect and hate each other, and on and on and on and on. But I also came here originally because I was a passport bro, still am, because I did not believe I could date. There are no more traditional women really left who are single in America. So I wanted to kind of give everybody an update on how it's going. But Thailand is amazing, and number one best thing about Thailand is Thai people, hands down. All right. Jim says, I agree. Level 2 makes sense at home, at work, and at hotels where you are there for long hours and can charge for a long time. Yeah, I think it's a waste of money to install level 2 chargers anywhere outside of that. Hitchhiker says, why do you have an accent? Well, I was born in Russia and I moved to America when I was 15, so I still have an accent. Um, but I'm American citizen. The only citizenship I have is American. Never claimed my Russian citizenship. I will never have Thai citizenship. Doesn't seem like there's a policy here for that. So I will be an American citizen. But yeah, I have a Russian accent in English, and I have an English accent in Russian because I don't really speak Russian that often. I only speak it to my mother. And I'm also one of my soccer teams here is Russian, so I speak Russian there. But I have an accent in Russian now. There's no language that I speak, and my Thai is awful. Pasatai pom maidiloi crap. And I'm sure I have a horrible English Russian accent in Thai. So there's no language that I speak without one. Um, Jim in Auburn says you can discriminate against people because of religion. You can discriminate against people for any reason. You can discriminate against people that are ex-cons. It's okay though because they're okay. Yeah. Okay. So correct. Yes, Jim. I was not good at that was not the right word I was using. Um, Discrimination meaning like you discriminating against someone against something that wasn't their choice. That's what I meant. You're absolutely right. I discriminate against people all the time, and I usually do it because of their choices that they've made for themselves, and it does include religion, absolutely. In both ways. Like I love Thai people, and Buddhism. Buddhism is such a peaceful culture, and everything that I see it teaches people. Even though I'm not a Buddhist myself, I really love it. I really love the fact that I live in a Buddhist culture. So yeah, yep. Jim says correct. I was born in Russia, Moscow, Russia. Hitchcocker says Rivian R1S. That there's a Rivian SUV is the perfect size electric SUV for USA. Just make electric SUV the size of Ford Explorer. How hard can it be? It's not actually pretty hard. It is pretty hard, but I also don't think people need SUVs as much as they think they do, or trucks. Alex, great name. McKenna says Elon reminds me of the people who collaborated with the occupiers. It's all about me. I don't know who occupiers are. Okay. I think now this is RP says I think HR workplace situation have gotten better. They said you can hit on someone once and you have to say you're not interested. Yeah, maybe, but yeah, not good enough. Meaning like, well, I mean, in that case, yes, I agree. I think it's okay if you approach someone if they say no, you should no longer ask them. But life is complicated. I mean, life is complicated. So, yeah, but I agree with that particular policy. But I disagree with a lot of other HR policies in America. Let's see. TLM says, good thing Elon gets closer to US government and gives more priority to EVs. If that happens, right? If that happens. And by the way, but what if Biden wins or whoever ends up being a Democratic nominee? How is that going to play out? You really think, let's say it's Biden. Let's just say Biden becomes the president again, okay? You really think Biden, his administration is not going to forget? They're going to remember this. They're going to remember this, and things may not go very well for Tesla and electric cars. Though still better than Trump being against electric cars, because I think Biden will be for electric cars no matter what, right? Hitchcocker says, would you rather have a more aerodynamic electric car with smaller battery or less aerodynamic with more spacious car because squared off cars have more headroom and space with a bigger battery? I mean, me personally, uh, I usually drive my car by myself, or drove. I don't drive right now, or with someone like a girl that I'm dating, right? So to me, and I like good looking cars, just like I like good looking women, right? So I would say for me, I'd rather do aerodynamic just because it's a better looking car. And plus, I'm only 5'8", so it's not like I need a lot of space. I have dated women who are taller than me, but still, not that much taller. Sebastian says, you and I have disagreed on several points, but it is always a fun discussion and widens our mental horizons. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Sebastian. I absolutely agree. I think that more people should be doing this. By the way, originally, if you guys don't know, the reason I started this Wednesday live thing is because I was going to do it with Warren, Warren Redlick, right? And we're on opposite sides of almost everything, but we figured out how to actually have a reasonable conversation. As a matter of fact, now that he is here in Bangkok, we hang out once in a while as well. Can't say we're like best friends, but we hang out. And I think that's what's missing from America. I think that's one of the things that is the worst thing about America is people do no longer have respect for each other on the basic levels and do no longer respect that people can have other opinions on the same subject. Some people really hate Elon, says Hitchhiker. Yeah, I get it. And he's not helping his cause. I don't think. Shane says, I want to buy a second Tesla, but my wife says she's done with him. There you go. I think you submitted the same comment last time, Shane. Yeah, there's a good example of how now Tesla will sell one less car. Now, how many people are like Shane and his wife? I'm going to argue a lot after this, right? If you hate Donald Trump, which half of America does, and the guy who you're going to be giving your money to buy your car is going to be giving some of that money to elect the guy you hate, what do you think your choice is going to be as a consumer, right? TLM says, heard the news, both BYD and Tesla hacked, so they both can go do V2G, DC bi-directional charging. Officially still not possible. I don't understand this comment at all. They got hacked. so they both can do. There. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, somebody hacked them in a good way. Okay. By the way, I don't really understand this whole bidirectional charging. I think it's such a cool thing to do, and everyone's doing it, and we're gonna do it. I think there's very little. And I'm the one who still owns a condo in Houston, and I know what's going on in Houston right now. I don't think it's really worth the money, at least if anything. Now here in Thailand, developing country, I have yet to have a power outage, a hot water outage, a water outage, or internet outage in over a year of me being of living here in this developing country. Losing my voice. Let's see next comment. Am I catching up with comments? Holger, Holger, Holger. Tesla was not possible anymore for our family because of Elon political views. Disgusting. Bought a Hyundai. There you go. And this is why I don't understand. There was the guy who was an investor here who wanted to keep his Tesla stock never replied to me about why he thinks that the stock is going to continue going up when there are people like this saying I'm not going to buy a Tesla not because of it's a bad car. I was going to buy it, but because of Elon's views. Yeah. Bush says I'm cutting in and out. Am I? Am I cutting in and out, guys? Maybe it's time to upgrade this microphone. It's a good mic, and I don't know what's happening. In my screen, I didn't get any messages, so please let me know if my sound is still okay. The money guy says Elon doesn't need to get close to the government. The free market should be able to do its thing without government interference. Tesla being the top selling brand for a while already speaks for itself. I mean, I agree, but also it is the job of the government to make sure that our air is clean, right? And that's why government wants, generally speaking, electric cars to succeed. And that's how with every technology, right? New technology, government does need to help if the government sees that the technology can benefit the citizens in the most basic needs like clean water, clean air, and so forth. But I agree. I mean, Tesla should be able to make it on their own without government. But this is not about whether, like, this is why I think that just being closer to Donald Trump and maybe having some positive outcome from the government is not going to counter a ridiculous amount of people who will not be buying his cars. Okay, Richard says sound has been fine, and I haven't gotten any messages on my screen that there's a problem with sound. Hitchhiker says I saw. Okay, we already. I saw a video about people stealing charging cables to sell copper. Infrastructure costs may become costly in some places. Yes, and that comes down to American culture, right? Of people committing crime. You know, more and more. It comes down to culture. It comes down to education. It comes down to politicians setting the way. It's unfortunate, but yeah. I think they'll figure it out. I think they'll figure out the whole cable cutting thing, and there's just growing pains. I'm not really worried about it. There are bigger problems. James P says I'm behind, but from Atlanta, and you just started watching the live stream, James. Hi, James. An hour later, I'm behind, but from Atlanta, and Kia Niro EV is your car of choice. Kia Niro EV has become more and more beautiful, I think, with time. All right, Hitchhiker. Oh, I'm almost caught up to the comments. Hitchhiker says, but Tesla sells cars all over the world. Any market share they lose in the US, they can make up. Oh, no. Listen, US is one of the biggest markets out there. So, yes, you absolutely need every sale you can get, especially now when Tesla has to sell beyond its fan base. So, no. You can't disregard an American market. Absolutely not. And by the way, Cybertruck is not even being sold outside of America and probably never will be. So check your mic cable. The mic sounds great. Yeah, I think so too. Anyway, I'll figure it out, guys. Sorry for not having sound for a few seconds, but it is what it is. Okay, my voice is getting hoarse. The time is now 2:00 in the morning here. Let me know if you have any last second questions or super chats. And then, like I said, next week, unless anything happens, I want to talk about, and a lot of people have been asking what it's like, what Do I stand by my decision to move out of America? How I feel? Did I moved out because of essentially American women? Is that going better for me? What are the reasons why I'm staying here? What the life is like? How I look in America now? All of those things I kind of wanted to talk about, and you guys I know will ask questions. Lauren says Tesla stock down nearly $10, which I think is significant, but I think it made up a lot of ground lately, which I don't know why, but like I said, it's just any other stock would be in a toilet if a CEO of a company would be endorsing one of the presidential candidates, right? This harshly or this directly. But like I said, Donald Trump and Elon Musk operate in a completely different universe, and somehow we treat them very differently. So it is what it is. All right, guys. It's been fun. I love doing this. Honestly, a lot of I mean, I'm not doing these for like views or money at all, because these are just like little small live streams. I love talking to you guys. I like having interaction with people live, and being able to talk about electric cars and even topics like this, which I guess is politics. Um, Okay, I will answer this question before I go. Richard says, "Why you did not try a Russian girl in the U.S.?" I have a policy of not dating Russian women at all. First of all, in America, I mainly dated black women. That's just because of what I'm attracted to. I've also dated Asian women in America. But Russian women, I don't date them in America. I don't date them here, which there's plenty of them here. It is not good. Yeah, yeah, no, no. Russian girls are not for me at all. Um, the money guy says, I appreciate the work you do. It's good to be able to interact outside of echo chambers. Absolutely agree. And thank you for saying thank you. Les says he's going to lose EV progressive aligned people who were mostly EV enthusiasts. Yeah, I like to get a gold card. We already talked about it. Like I said, I think it's easier to keep the left people from the left than gain people from the right. And there are plenty of Trump supporters who drive Teslas also. Rahit says, wish you good evening. Thank you so much. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, so please wish me good night. Thank you for hanging out with me, guys. I am going to take a quick shower, go to bed, do my Thai homework as I'm learning Thai, and then the new day starts tomorrow. I will see you all at the same time, which is 1 a.m. Bangkok time. I think it's 11 a.m. California time. And then so you do your own calculations. And I'll see you next week when I'll talk about moving and living here in Thailand. All right. I'll see you guys later. And remember,